And welcome to the Georgia Southern Postgame Show. I'm Josh Aubrey, being joined by Mike Anthony, sports editor and Georgia Southern beat writer for the Statesboro Herald. Mike, we're here at Paulson Stadium, Georgia Southern, on the short end of a 34-10 loss to Appalachian State that probably wasn't even that close. The Eagle offense held in check the entire game, only 3 first downs in the entire first half. They did go into the half, though, tied at 10-all. It looked like they might have had some momentum after a block kick came out the second half. The offense continued to sputter. The defense on the field way too much. Ends up finally giving in, and we finally get the score of 34-10. I think we both thought that this game would be a lot closer than it was. Obviously, we were wrong.
Well, we thought it could be a defensive struggle, and for that first half it was. However, as it got into the second half, it became apparent that while Appalachian State was able to get a chunky yardage here, chunky yardage there, piece their way down the field, the Appalachian defense wasn't having any of that from Georgia Southern. 3 and out after 3 and out. All in all, 9 different drives for the Eagles that ended in 3 plays or less, whether by punt or by turnover. And as you mentioned, the Georgia Southern defense up for the challenge most of the night. But when you're on the field for just 3, 4, 5 minutes at a time, turn around, watch it 3 and out, have to trudge back out there, it wears on you. And that's where you really saw it, was in the late stages of the third quarter and into the fourth quarter. App really starting to just impose its will and roll over the defense.
Yeah, it's not something you're used to seeing here at Paulson Stadium. In fact, it's one of the worst offensive outputs ever at Paulson Stadium as far as yardage and points and first downs go by your offense, and that's just got a lot of people scratching their heads. You know, Appalachian State is a good defensive team, and but it seemed like they knew every play, even almost before it was snapped.
It's tough to figure out what's going on with this Georgia Southern team that really hasn't even made any strides forward. It started the season, with a few head scratchers, people thinking new staff, new terminology, maybe they needed to just get their feet wet, but it seems as though they've taken steps backward in almost every game. A couple of weeks ago at Georgia Tech, a few more yards, a few more points, thought maybe a corner was being turned, but then even though they get a win against New Mexico State, the offensive problems continued, and tonight it really came to a head. Just 159 yards, and most of that, over 100 yards of that, coming in the fourth quarter.
All right, well, let's get out and take a look at how things happened here at Paulson Stadium, Georgia Southern and Appalachian State. A big rivalry matchup Thursday at Paulson Stadium, Georgia Southern and App State, and a good crowd on hand. The Eagle offense struggling out of the gate, only 3 first downs the entire first half. Luckily, the defense stepping up. Taylor Lamb picked off by Darius Jones, who makes a nice return into Mountaineer territory. The offense again can't move the ball. From the 1, bad snap, L.A. Ramsby in at the Wildcat, but fortunately, Youngwei Koo remains perfect. His field goal gives the Georgia Southern Eagles a 3-0 lead. The Mountaineers then mounting a charge. Lamb to Shaden Meadows, who gets the first down. The defense holds. App tries a field goal, but the snap catches the holder off guard. The ball loose, scooped up by Ukeme Eligwe, and he gets escorted 90 yards all the way into the end zone as the Eagles jump out to a 10-0 lead despite struggling offensively. Second quarter, more from the Eagle D. Eligwe coming up with the pass breakup. But again, not much on offense, only 31 total yards in the first half. Seth Schumann to Miles Campbell, the rare first down here, but later Schumann on target. But Campbell can't hang on. Conversely, the Mountaineers with a top 10 SportsCenter play of the day as Meadows somehow hangs on and gets a foot down. A few plays later, it's Lamb on the run, the 14-yard touchdown, and the lead cut to 10-7. After another 3 and out, the defense gets the ball back. This time, Lamb will be picked off by Jay Bowdry. But just as quickly as the Eagles taketh, they giveth away. Schumann will be picked off by Eric Boggs. The defense prevents any further damage other than this short Michael Rubino field goal before the half, and we go to the half tied at 10-all. Second half, the Eagles hold on their initial Mountaineer drive, and Trey Griffin with the hit for a loss, but again, nothing doing on offense. The Eagles with only 5 first downs through 3 quarters of play, and the defense finally wearing down Lamb to Meadows on 4th down, and then that would lead to another field goal to make it 13-10 late in the third. Schumann back in at quarterback, and the same result, nothing doing offensively. And when he would try and get something going through the air, it wasn't good. Schumann's second interception of the game, this time A.J. Howard with the pick. And once again, App turns the turnover into points. Lamb back to his favorite receiver, Meadows, again to the Eagle 31. And then Lamb, he's off to the races. Once again, he'd have 94 yards rushing, while Jalen Moore had 126 and Marcus Cox 115. And to rub salt in the wound, the game clincher will come on the old option play here to Cox. He goes in as the Eagles fall hard at home, 34-10.
We're Kyle and Jared Lott of Smack TV.
Each week we go into millions of homes to show you great hunting.
And we couldn't do what we do without TC Outdoors doing what they do.
It doesn't matter if your adventure takes you fishing in the local pond or on a cross-country hunt.
TC Outdoors is going to be there for you with gear, know-how, and support, just like they are for us.
They've been here for years. We know them.
And we trust them.
So come by TC Outdoors on Northside Drive. Tell them Jared and Kyle sent you.
Everybody's frustrated, but that's what comes with the game. It's tough games like this. Play tough team like App State. They came out here and they were hitting on all cylinders. We couldn't bounce back from it. They just played a good game. But everybody's down for sure. Along with everybody else around here, everybody's down. But it's all right. You got to bounce back.
We just got to get better. Number one. That's how I feel. No matter what, first half, second half, we just got to outcompete them and dominate them. And we didn't do that in the second half, and I feel like that's where they won the game at, second half. Go back, watch film, see where you can get better at, make the corrections on Monday or Friday tomorrow, and just try to get better. Go back with your heads up and look forward to the next game.
We're definitely down on ourselves. We played good in the first half, and we just got to finish. We didn't do that in the second half. The feeling is, just making sure we stay together. We got to fight through adversity, and we just got to get better every week. Flushing down the toilet and focusing on Ole Miss. There's no we can go back and change about this game. We can't go back in time, so we just got to worry about the future now and just do everything we can to get ready for them.
I'm frustrated, and I'm certainly upset. And I know that our players, I'm sure feel the same way, and we've got to do a better job. We sit there and we start the game with a 10-0 lead, and take that in, go into halftime at 10-10, and we go into the fourth quarter at 20-10 and wind up, just not playing the way we need to play. We could never get anything going with any amount of consistency on offense, and when we do that, our defense winds up being out there for a long time. I thought our defense, and certainly the special teams played, scored a touchdown with Marcus Shaligwe early on in the game. They give us a chance and they fight and continue to keep us in it, 20-10 going in the fourth quarter. We couldn't make anything happen with it, and and again, those things fall on me. Never was able, like I said, to establish a run game, and for us here at Georgia Southern, that's what we've got to be able to do. We've got to be able to establish a run game. That's good for any offense, but particularly for ours, we were not able to do that. Got forced into being in positions where we're not very comfortable, which is throwing the ball a tremendous amount of time, being behind, those sorts of things, and we didn't play very well. And again, didn't do, obviously, for me, overall, didn't do a very good job either of getting our football team and everyone associated ready to play. You sit there and look at it again, third downs, 2 of 13. You're not going to win football games doing that. And don't give ourselves a chance. We only played 55 snaps on offense, played way too many on defense, and too much of it being in consecutive manners. Again, time of possession, rushing yards, those are things that we want to sit there and win and expect to win each and every week, and we were dominating those phases. We continued to try to each week go in and find things to tweak, tried to find things to correct, tried to find things to get better at, tried to find adjustments to make, and went in and obviously didn't have the game plan that we need to have to give ourselves a chance to be successful. Certainly part of it comes from needing to make sure, like I started with, if we can't establish some variation of an inside run game, then we're never going to be able to get to the perimeter piece. And if we're forced into being one-sided, into having to sit there and try to throw the ball, then we're not going to have a whole lot of success. And when we got put in that position, we didn't.
Well, Mike, we heard from Coach Summers. You saw a guy up there. We all know he's frustrated. We know if he could push a button and make everything go right, he would. But it just seems like week after week, we keep asking, well, what's going on with this offense? What's going on? There's talented guys out there. They just don't seem to be making plays like they did last year. What is it? And it just seems like there's not really a lot of answers out there.
Right, we want the answers. The fan base wants the answers, and that's the biggest problem right now. Is I think inside that locker room, the coaching staff and the players want the answers. They study tape, they scheme during practice, but for whatever reason, whatever plan they come up with, when it's put out on the field, the opponent seems to have the answer for it. And week after week, just short run, not getting into favorable situations, not converting third downs. That's not the way to win football games, although App 1 of 12 on third downs, but then again, they were 3 of 4 on fourth downs. So that's a situation where we talk about them getting a few chunks of yardage. They're in a position to where they can get a little risky, extend a drive, playing on the Georgia Southern side of the field, where time and time again those missed third down opportunities for Georgia Southern, leaving a 4th and long and deep in their own territory.
Okay, next week, Georgia Southern goes to Oxford to take on the Ole Miss Rebels. We mentioned that, for these guys, it would be nice to play a team where they could maybe rebound and play a lesser opponent in the league where they could think they could honestly win. I guess they still think they can win, but this is Ole Miss. This is the SEC. This is a tough place to play, and Georgia Southern's going to have their hands full next week.
Yeah, very few teams are going to go into any game not thinking that they can win, especially if they execute, but therein lies the problem. Georgia Southern continuing to not execute, and it's really tough. After 40 days on the road, they're rewarded with a short week, an arch rival, an emotionally charged game, a tough loss, and now as soon as they get undressed, get showered up, get the Band-Aids on, they're turning around and looking at maybe a longer week with 10 days, but they've got to hit the road again for probably their toughest challenge of the season.
All right, well, that's what's up next for Georgia Southern on the road in Oxford against the Ole Miss Rebels. We'll be there to keep you up to date on how things are going. For Mike Anthony, I'm Josh Aubrey. That'll wrap things up from Paulson Stadium. Hope to see you again soon.